And I think instinctively, a lot of people like to be heroes, right? So they want to, hit that sixer, right? They don't want to take 6 1 runs, right? And that's a problem, with most people. Everyone's trying to be hero, and they're trying to, trade more than what they're supposed to trade. In the sense, stock markets is like a roller coaster, okay? And if you keep getting excited every time it's up and down, you can enjoy the roller coaster for 5 minutes, and then you're gonna get frustrated after that. You can't focus on money, right? Because if you make money as an objective, or you make success as an objective in terms of how big you will get, or how big a company you want to make, you get distracted, right?
It's a storytelling, finance, and deep entrepreneurship-based podcast. I've got Nithin Kamath from Zerodha. Welcome to the Ranveer show, brother.
Thanks, Ranveer, for having me on this.
What is the secret to creating a mammoth but bootstrapped organization? And I just want to give the viewers some context. There's a lot of people who don't understand what the term bootstrap means. So there's 2 ways to make money for your company once you start. One is that you raise money through investors, and the other is that you create a product, you play a basic profit and loss game, you accumulate profits and then put it back into the business, and that's how you grow it out. Coming back to the question, so that's your identity. What is the biggest secret to playing this bootstrap game? Because it's not easy.
See, the thing is, you remember back in college, there used to be this girl who used to date no one, and everyone wants to date that girl, So, not raising VC money has made us into one of those kind of girls, So, like, everyone in town is interested to figure what is that you do, and everyone wants to date you, So it's I don't know if I think this whole country is kind of gotten stuck into this success equal to raising VC money, which isn't really true, right? Success for a business is, if the business can make money or not, which is, and the thing is, because we didn't raise money when we started the business, we were forced to go and find ways to be profitable, right? And once we started making some money, we thought, what's the point of raising VC money, right? As in, there is a lot of independence that comes along by by just remaining, bootstrapped and not having VCs. And today as a business, even though we are this mammoth, I keep telling this to some of my, guys in the office, that we are like an elephant that runs like a cheetah, right? And the reason for the nimbleness is not having all these professional investors whom you have to go and ask questions before your decisions are taken, right? So like, I could be having this conversation with you, take an idea from you, and, Monday morning go and execute it. And that nimbleness has been the success for the business. And yeah, so that's, why bootstrapped? When we started off, no one was really interested in giving money. And then when we started making money, then we saw no point in doing it, right? And the other angle that I don't know, most people, even the young folks don't understand is in India, making profits and taking money from a company is a lot more expensive than getting a VC to invest and take money. I'll explain you why, right? So if you make a profit as a company, you have to pay your 25% taxes. Then you have to pay dividend distribution tax of 20%, right? And now, from last year onwards, in the hands of the promoter, you still have to pay the tax on the dividends again, right? So you're essentially paying 55% taxes before you take profit out of the company, right? Now compare this to, say I'm the VC, right? And say a VC invests into Zerodha, and I sell some of my stake to the VC and I take money. You pay long-term or short-term capital gains, which is between 15 to 20%. So the tax incentive in India is structured for promoters to sell stake and make money than to make profits and make money, right? And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of these companies, promoters look at even, making money by selling their stake versus trying to make profitable companies and, earn out of it as dividends, So it's, I keep bringing this up, saying that, we should maybe incentivize this, right? Otherwise, this will keep happening, right? As in, people will always look at the easier way to make money, which is selling stakes. And selling stakes means you have to raise money, grow company, then try to make it bigger, get more investors in. So we are for sure in one of those bubble times where it's easy to somehow create a company which seems to have a lot of valuation, and in very, very quick time. So let's see how all of this plays out. So.
What's the story? What's the actual story? What were you doing when you were 17? What were you doing when you were 22? What were you thinking 11 or 12 years ago when you were just figuring that this is what you wanted to do? What is going on in your head at those stages of life?
So the thing is, at 16, 17, I started trading the markets. I used to live in this area dominated by Marwadis. So I'm a Brahmin boy. So I'm I'm probably the only businessman in our extended family, So I was, in this place where there were a lot of these Marwadis around, and they got introduced to stock markets. So I started buying and selling shares back in 97, 98. So it's almost like 22, 23 years now. And then by 2001, I had saved some money up. But, in India, there was this new thing that was introduced in 2001 called futures and options. Today, futures and options contribute to almost 90% of the exchange turnover. But it's a product where traders, So
Could you explain that? Could you explain
right.
futures and options in a simple way?
So the thing is, a lot of people, right, when you talk stock markets, what they think is you buy a stock, wait for the stock price to appreciate, and then sell it after a while, right? Which is, wait for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Now, what people don't understand is that turnover is just 1% of the exchange turnover, right? Where people buy stock, wait for the stock price to appreciate and sell, right? The rest of the turnover is actually, in the market is very speculative. Right. So there is a lot of this intraday trading that happens, which is, you buy and sell shares within a day. You buy in the morning and then you sell in some time. Right. So that is 10% of the turnover. The remaining 90% comes from this product called as futures and options. Right. What futures and options is, okay, I think the simplest form of futures is, a sale agreement. Right. If you have a land and I am a real estate, say, agent, right, I come to you and I ask you, you have this property for 50 lakh rupees. I will pay you 1 lakh rupee premium. Keep this, sign a sale agreement with me. And my job is to go sell at whatever price, right? But the agreement between you and me is 50 lakh rupees. And that 1 lakh, which I give you as a premium for signing that agreement. Now, say in 2 months, if I don't find a buyer for it, you get to keep the 1 lakh rupees, right? That's how typical real estate sale agreements work, right? Now that is called as a call option, okay? So you can do exactly the same thing in the stock markets with stocks, right? And the good thing about futures and options is that you can make money both on the way up and on the way down, right? I mean, if you've seen The Big Short, the movie, right? So this guy makes a lot of money in 2008 when the markets crashes, right? Now, how do you make money if the only thing you can do in the market is buy stock, wait for it to go up, right? As in you can't. So the way to make money when markets go down is using futures and options. Right, it's quite complex to kind of explain it in like 1 or 2 minutes, but but it is 90% of the exchange turnover, so people who speculate, who trade, find futures and options very exciting. And the problem with leverage in life is that leverage is like weapons of mass destruction. You make money, you make money fast, you lose money, you lose it faster, right? So. What leverage means is that with your 1 lakh rupees, you're not buying 1 lakh rupees of stocks. You're actually buying 5 lakh rupees of stocks, right? Which means if a stock goes up 10%, you're not making 10%, but you're actually making 50% of your capital. But the other problem is, if it goes down 10%, you're losing 50% of your capital, right? So it's everything multiplied, right? As in, futures and options comes with leverage. And that's what is exciting for people, which is, you can make money fast. Right? And so 2001, I started trading the markets in futures and options, and that whole leverage was very inducing, tempting, whatever you can call. And I blew up my account, and I had borrowed money and tried to make up. And so I was in one of those points in life where I was in minus, where I was owing a lot of people money. So I found myself a job in a call center in 2001 and 2, and call center because I could trade during days and I could work in the night time, right? And then back in 2001 and 2, call center was the coolest place in town, by the way. So it is, and all the good-looking girls used to work there, and then and it was all this, it was almost like airline industries, right? As in everyone wanted to work in airlines at one point, right? So So call center had that thing going for it in the first 2-3 years between 2001 to 2005. And then kind of
Did you meet your wife there?
Yes, I did actually. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So I worked in a call center for 3-4 years, and in 2005, I met this gentleman at the gym, and he was, he asked me, dude, what do you do? And I showed him my account performance, and I used to trade with a brokerage called ICSA Direct. And he saw my performance for those 3-4 years, and he said, dude, can you do this for me? And I said, okay, why not? So he cut me a check. So I was essentially managing his portfolio. I quit my job and I started this portfolio advisory company in 2005. And
Nice.
yeah, it's it's like, a lot of random things in life, every story, probably has this tipping points, right? Where I could have easily continued to work in a call center. I've been a telecommunication engineering college degree.
Up top, if I could fist bump you through the screen, I would. I know your pain, my brother.
Yeah, so I could have been an engineer if I had studied well and all of that. I mean, if this whole trading bug, if say my dad was transferred to another city, he was working in a bank, he was transferred to another city, I would probably have been never introduced to stock markets in my life, right? So like that, a lot of happenstances, and this person I met in 2005, he gave me a check. I quit my job. He introduced his friends, started making some money for these folks. So then slowly that business started going up. Then I became a franchisee for a bigger brokerage firm. It's Reliance had a broking firm as well called Reliance Money. I became a franchisee for it in 2006. By then, my younger brother had joined me, and he, you can call it evolution or whatever. He's 7 years younger to me, and he's a much sharper trader than I am. I ever was. So in 2008, we guys made some money when the markets fell, and then there was a realization that, dude, if he's a better trader, why should I trade? In the sense, it didn't really make sense, because in trading, it's not like it's not like manual work, right? As in, it's not like two people can. Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you in the middle, but I have an honest, curious question. And before we get to the actual Zerodha story,
Right.
I always have this theorem that if you want to build a startup that deals with sweepers, if you're providing sweepers for the road, you need to be a sweeper yourself first, and then therefore you'll make the better startup. So, speaking specifically about trading, when you said that your brother was a better trader than you, how do you actually become a better trader? Is it instinct based? Is it like studying based? Is it numbers based? Like, how do you become a Wolf of Wall Street kind of?
Yeah, the thing is, trading is like an art, at the extreme levels, right? As in, you can be an average trader, you can learn, study, and be an average trader, put some money on the table. If you're trading for a living, you can put food on the table, right? But you want to really hit home, you have to have that little extra, and that is genetics. I don't think you can really learn that stuff. It's like, can I learn football and become Messi, right? I mean, it's not going to happen, right? As in, you need to have the genes in you in some form. So I think, you can only push yourself to a certain extent, and over and above that, the genetics kind of lottery takes over, right? And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing like you, right? As in, not everyone can do a podcast like you. I mean, of course, you can teach someone whatever you know, but he might end up doing a decent job, but he may not be able to actually match your standard ever, right? So it's that's because you probably have some kind of a genetic lottery as well. So and in trading, the thing about trading, right, is that there's no gray areas. There is just black and white, right? Either you make money or you're not making money, right? Now, like, for you as success, probably could be how many people view your podcast, etc., right? And how people view your podcast could be because of your persona and so many factors, right? As in, but in trading, it's not that. I mean, everything boils down to, did you make money today or you didn't make money? As in, because there could be a podcaster who's got a lot of views but doesn't make any money, right? But so it's very tough to define success and failure. But in stock markets, the thing is that it's, you see what's your P&L is your, it's very black and white, so you either make money or you don't make money.
But the way Messi would, cut people, or has God-given agility, or whatever you want to call it, specifically in a trader's mind, what are genetic gifts that'll make you a better trader? Is it just instinct? Is it like, okay, this stock, I believe in it, and just having that sixth sense about certain stocks? Is it that?
No, it's not that actually. That's what a lot of people make it out in a lot of stock market movies, that somehow, the guy who who takes the most risk is the one who makes money. But it's actually the opposite. The people who make money trading the markets are people who are most conservative about risks. Because this is not, there's not something that you're not trading for one day, right? It's not the one lottery you're gonna hit and you're gonna make a lot of money and take home, right? You have to trade daily. You have to trade continuously over a long period of time. And being conservative is actually the most important thing when trading. And I think instinctively a lot of people like to be heroes, right? So they want to hit that sixer, right? They don't want to take 6 1-runs, right? And that's the problem with most people. Everyone's trying to be hero, and they're trying to trade more than what they're supposed to trade. And a lot of times you end up becoming a compulsive trader. The best trades in the markets is when you don't trade, right? Because if you are not in a trade, you are rational enough to see an opportunity as an opportunity. Right? If you're stuck in something, right, you can't even see it as an opportunity, right? You kind of let go of a lot of opportunities. So just to be wired like that is very tough. You can't just read and wire yourself like that. And that that whole saying, there's not a one day thing. This is a lifelong thing. This is a lot of grinding. It's a if people play poker, they would know, right? What's a grinder? It's just, you wait for your good hands and then you bet, right? You don't just, try to keep betting every hand, right? So stuff like that, and a lot of that, is people don't get it, and I think one of the challenges in India also is that the financial knowledge, we are never taught finance in school and college, right? As in, you come out of college, you end up either doing what your parents did or you end up picking it up from your friends. And most likely what your friends are doing are wrong. So, what we have today is a country full of financial illiterates. Even though they understand
100%.
finance, but they don't really understand how to really go about it. And that's one of the things, we've been, it keeps bugging me. Like, how do you fix this problem in this country?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think it's limited to just finance. I think it's limited to a host of other soft skills, including things like communication, including things
Right.
like business, which is not taught that in school, which is why the whole new education policy is fantastic for the country.
Right.
But the other thing I really want to highlight, and this is what I get from you, and I'm not talking about Nithin, the entrepreneur, I'm talking about Nithin, the guy. You're a lot like Rahul Dravid. Like, your energy is a lot like Rahul Dravid. And even the kind of trading energy you described in terms of, okay, that's what you need, that you need to be able to be consistent. It's a very Rahul Dravid-esque
Yeah, it's a very
energy
stoic.
that you...
It's a stoic approach to life. You can't let.
100%.
You can't. In the sense, stock markets is like a roller coaster. Okay, and if you keep getting excited every time it's up and down, you can enjoy the roller coaster for 5 minutes, and then you're gonna get frustrated after that, right? As in, so if you want to kind of survive, you need to just be stoic about the whole thing.
I also feel that when you're running a bootstrap business and you're growing it gradually, the same kind of mentality of consistency, test match cricket, that applies. Hit your ones and twos. And dude, this is something I see with a lot of people from Bangalore in general, which is a whole section of the podcast I want to break down later. That why does Bangalore breed people like you, people like Rahul Dravid, with this calm, ones and twos mentality, the slow build-up mentality, your brother. And why is it also the startup hub? But through your story, I want to know, like, the whole Zerodha story. How did you transition into saying, okay, you know what, let's build a massive company now?
No, the thing is, I don't think you can really have that, I will build a big company or I'll make this much money. I don't know if that stuff really works in life, right? As in, there's this very interesting thing, this friend who gave me the first check, said, about, why this, goddess Lakshmi sits on a lotus, and Saraswati sits on a rock. Right. I mean, there is a significance to this. I mean, you could call it some kind of bias that you're finding these significances, but his story was, lotus, money is floating, it's never with you, right? If you want to get to money, you can't swim to a lotus, you have to kind of do the right things and hope she comes to you, right? And Saraswati is like education, right? What you learn, etc. It's rock, it doesn't move anywhere, right? And I think one of the learnings, through my life being a trader was that you can't focus on money, right? Because if you make money as an objective or you make success as an objective in terms of how big you will get, or how big a company you want to make. You get distracted, right? I think the focus has to be in just doing the right thing. Do the right thing for your business, do the right thing for the people who work with you, and in this business and in generally in life, being right place, right time is extremely important. You can make the greatest curry of your life, and if there's no salt, I mean, no one's going to eat that, right? So and that whole right place, right time, is also extremely important. And what I've realized, I mean, I don't know if I end up sounding like a guruji, but what I've realized is that if the more good you do, the higher the odds of right place, right time happens. In the sense, the more good you are to others, if you take care of your customers really well, they will remember you and they will help you grow the word, right? I mean, until now for Zerodha, we haven't spent a single rupee on advertisement, not a single AdWord campaign, not a single Google ad, whatever, right? So we are 3 million customers and we have done it without a single rupee. And that's happening because of the same approach that, we are always constantly trying to help a customer. Right. Same way, the top 100 people who joined Zerodha, the first 100, they haven't quit till date. Maybe 2 or 3, we've asked them to leave, 1 or 2, but, so we probably have the highest retention of employees. Our tech team is a 30-member team, really tiny team. It's like one of those X-Men kind of a team. And not a single person from our tech team has quit till date. Right. I mean, so when you ask for success, right, as in these are essential ingredients, right? As in it is, because you need your people, you need your customer, and you need your product, right? And if people are happy, they will build a good product. And, if customers are happy, they will go and talk about you and help you grow the business. So I think that lesson was, I think learning was from trading actually. I think my journey as a trader, I became a better trader when I stopped focusing on money. Because, when I was younger, every day I was like, I need to make 1,000 rupees today, or I need to make 5,000 rupees this week, stuff like that, right? And then you to get there, you become very aggressive. And then you forget what are the rules to follow to get there, right? I mean, you can't be Messi, get in and say, I want to score a goal today, right? I mean, in this match. Because then, you're probably not going to pass it to your, your other players, and you'll probably screw up the game, right? So it's, I think that way, that whole learning of trading, etc., helped me significantly. And also, I believe, like this is something I keep telling people who ask me, what should you do before you start up? Like I think one of the things you need to do is build a core competency. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to build this freaking great new business, and with having no idea of how it works, or not having any exposure to the industry. And you can't just wake up one day and be that. And maybe 1 or 2 will get lucky. I mean, but the odds of you becoming lucky reduces significantly if you don't have any core competence. I mean, like right. So yeah, I think before Zerodha. So Zerodha we started in 2010, right? So I started trading the markets in 97, 98. So there was 13 years of experience before actually Zerodha started, right? And this was not like an overnight thing. A lot of people ask, when they say Zerodha is a 10-year-old business today, I say we're actually a 23-year-old business, because it started the day I started trading the markets. And one of the things that I've enjoyed doing in my life is I'm not really comfortable in front of a camera, but I've been during my trading during my call center life, I used to sell on the phone for 3.5, 4 years. I sold almost everything possible to these people in the US, right? With my pseudonym was Nathan Hawk. So I enjoy selling on the phone. And I used to run some of the largest communities for stock markets in India, throughout the last 10, 15 years. Again, in my pseudonym, not really as me, as in, so there were all these, I had the largest Yahoo Messenger group of traders. I had the biggest Orkut community and stuff like that. So all of that, was very critical in Zerodha being where it is today. So I don't think there is anything called, easy money as such, right? Or easy success or something, I mean, there is a lot of that goes into it. So 2010.
Like, how old were you when you thought of Zerodha as a startup? Like, as in, like, when you were like, okay, I'm done with just trading and playing this game. Now let's play this game.
Yeah. So 2008. So I was 28, not 20, 29. Yeah. So I was 29 years old in 2008, 2009. So that's when this whole idea of Zerodha came by. And also the whole Zerodha idea came by was because there was another enabler. The stock exchange in India, the largest stock exchange in India is called NSE, the National Stock Exchange. And they started giving a free software for people who became members of the stock exchange, free trading software. And so we didn't really have any technology background when we started a business. And so this technology came for free. And we saw an opportunity to kind of offer technology for free, which was coming for free, and see if we can disrupt on the pricing. If we can reduce the cost of per trade and brokerage, etc. And that was essentially how the idea of Zerodha came by, back in 2008-9 kinds.
So at that phase where you were just starting something new, was there nervousness within your mind? Was there hope? Like, what were you thinking on a very human level? Because I'm sure you had your games planned out from a product perspective, from a finance perspective. But what were you thinking about the human aspect of things? That, okay, shit, I'll have to lead a team. I know I've got my brother. I'm sure you had your core kind of figured out. What was going on in the inner world?
Right. No, see, the thing is, when we started the business, it was never really meant to be what it is today. So this was all, just taken different directions as we grew. So when we started the business back in 2010, we were trying to build a brokerage firm for very active day traders like us. Right? It was almost like, you see these people who like rock music, they'll go set up a pub with rock music, stuff like that, right? Just for your, really tight knit, these kind of buddies and stuff like that. And like I said, right, when we started the business, the what we were trying to get after was the cost of trading. Right, when you buy and sell stocks in India, you pay a brokerage fees, and the brokerage fees in India historically has been a percentage fees. That means, you buy for 1 lakh rupees, you'll pay say 500 rupees as commissions. You buy for 10 lakhs, you'll pay 5,000 rupees, right? But in an online world, the cost of executing a trade doesn't go up, right? It remains same, right? So if it remains same, the question was that why should the commissions go up, and that was the question that we were trying to ask. When we started the business. And so what we did was we came and said we'll charge a flat fee per trade irrespective of the size of the trade, right? So when we started, it was, we are trying to reduce the cost for very active traders, and that's how this whole journey started. And then we were four people who were working from before. So it was me, my brother, and 2 others, and it never, I never really thought through so far ahead, in the sense I didn't really think that I'll have to lead teams, etc. I had a plan, I had a plan for the first 1 year, which is you build this brokerage firm for active traders like us, and if it doesn't work, I'll get back to trading. So that was the plan B, So, and then, but in the first 1 year, we kind of realized that the opportunity is kind of much bigger than just trying to cater to the small bunch of customers. The opportunity is probably, because one of the things I was scared of before starting the business was, in the business of money, right? People don't trust you very easily, right? What it means is, if you want to buy, say, 500 rupees of candies, you'll go to candies.com and you'll buy it. You'll not care who is running the site, who is the promoter, or is, all of that, right? You like the candy, you buy it. But if, say, you want to save 500 rupees, right? You would not do it on a random website, because, as soon as the word goes from spend to save, now you start questioning if this person is going to be around for 20 years, because my saving is supposed to be long term. He's going to be the custodian of my asset, right? If you save something, the money is somehow in some form lying with that business, right? So is he is a safe guy to keep the money with? So, all those questions, when I started the business, I didn't really think people will so easily trust you with the money. It took us a long time. I think I've seen if I look at our customer journey, the journey of our customers, most of our customers in the first 1-2 years would never keep more than 25,000-50,000 rupees with us, because I think they were bothered about the credibility of the brand itself, right? And but now we have customers who have 50-100 crores of securities or cash lying with us. Like I said, I would be lying if I said I'd actually thought so far ahead to think I'll have to build a big team or big business. I think it's just It started off as something else. It was meant to be very small, and then it just took this direction where it ended up becoming like this.
I read the story of Zerodha in detail. And while you all started with this very traditional business model, and I think there was this moment in your journey where you discovered opportunity. So, specifically, did you figure that, oh, by 2020, this younger generation that's kind of sprouting up in India, they will perceive money in a different way? Was that like a part of your realizations? Like, what was the thought process behind y'all went and actually got a CTO, a technical person, a tech person? You're an engineer yourself, but you're my kind of engineer. So we're not really on the tech side. So you figure that, okay, we need an all out engineer, tech guy to go and now build something new. So what was the opportunity and what was your thought process behind building out tech?
Right. No, I mean, the thing is, so Kailash, who heads our tech, he joined us in 2013. And what happened in around 2012 is there were a couple of new brokers who copy pasted whatever we were trying to say, right? In the same platform, same kind of branding, which is I care for the customer, I'm young, I write blog posts and blah, 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 right? So, but then, the realization was, there was no moat for the business, right? As in I think anyone starting up, I think the most important thing or any business, right, is to have a moat, right? Which is, what is that advantage you have over your competition, right? If a competition can catch up on you very easily, then, you can't really build a long-term sustainable business, right? And so the question we had at that time was, what is a moat, right? And the only moat for a business like us was the product. I think you had to evolve the product into something which is not available with anyone else. And so one of the other things that I have done through my life, I think, which has helped me significantly, is that knowing that, so I think, personally, I think people who can build products today, technologists, are like X-Men of today's world. I seriously think they are, right? Because they're...
And by that, you don't mean just tech. You mean even product designers or people who conceptualize, or you're just talking about tech?
No, I mean, even the guys who... anyone who can take an idea from an idea to a product, right? Like, is I think is like an X-Men, right? And like, if you've seen the X-Men movie, if you're not the X-Men, the only ones who do well are people who are friends of X-Men. I mean, in a sense, like you make sure you're around some X-Men. So that's I mean, I realized that quite early in my life. So what I started doing was, I knew that I can't learn coding for nuts. I mean, I tried it. It's just, it's just going all over the place, right? And so I said, how do I get close to people who are good coders and programmers? So one of the things I started doing was investing, small amounts of check. So anytime I found someone who seemed like a good product guy, who can actually build products, I started seeing if I can somehow invest a small little check and be around that guy. No intention of making money on the check. And I say check, invest in some form, right? Just to and Kailash was actually a co-founder of a company called Sensible. Now Sensible has it's relaunched in a different avatar, but in the original avatar he used to be a co-founder, and I was trying to bankroll that company at that time, and the product didn't fly because he didn't get regulatory approvals. But somehow, we both hit off, and I think one of the secrets for where we are as a business today is actually him and the tech team, right? Because you can do whatever you want as a business, but if you don't have a great product, it's not going to take you too far ahead, right? And
when you say you hit it off with your, he's your CTO now.
Right. I mean, he's as good as a co-founder. He doesn't like to be called a co-founder, but in all sense, he's a co-founder. So, right.
With this situation where as an entrepreneur you figured, okay, my business needs a tech element, and you're trying to go out and find a tech person, other than the actual craft, like how you're good with your numbers and your money and he's good with coding and building a product, do you also have to vibe on like internal human level?
Absolutely.
Like that's what you look for.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people who can work on their craft, become good coders, but there's few people who you'll be able to connect with as a human.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, and that's where it's important to keep interacting with as many people as possible, especially, in this, you can't just go to a coffee shop and find a co-founder or find someone whom you can trust to build a product, right? And the thing is, I think, like one of the things I've seen in my life now, I've invested in a lot of startups, is you know, a lot of startups don't really work because the team doesn't gel well together. Forget about the product and etc. But just the fact that the teams can't really bond and be together, and different kind of personalities trying to come together. And about this, how do you get the right person? Dude, it's goddamn luck. I don't think there is. It's like asking someone, how do you find the right person to get married to, right? As in, you just you just have to, wish that you're lucky. So. And
Dude, but what about Kailash made you think that, okay, here's me, here's my brother, we're good with our shit. How do we get a guy who matches our values? So what were those values in him where you were like, okay, this is working?
No, I mean, see, firstly, he's one of the most skilled programmers that I know, developers that I know, personally. So he had that skill going. Right. Second thing was he's almost like an idealist in the sense money doesn't drive him, right? So there were those kind of similar kind of personalities, where when we spoke, I don't think till date we were ever, as a business, not just him, anyone in the core team, we were ever actually spoken about our revenue targets and stuff like that. Not that money has never been a focus at all. Right now, in this kind of a mix, if you suddenly bring one guy who wants, who just talks about money all the time, he's gonna stand out, right? As in, it has to. I think the important thing here is, assuming, we were one of those kind of companies which was focused on generating revenue, you wanted a CTO who's similar like that, right? You don't want someone who's saying, dude, screw money, let's just build a product. And so, so the team has to kind of bond well, and especially with your product, right? Because, you can't, like a lot of time I keep telling him, I am replaceable in the business, but maybe he is not, so, right? Because it's very tough to replace the person who's built a product, and so I think this goes back to the original point I was trying to make, which is you try to be good. It's like karma, right? As in, so you're good to people, you end up meeting people who might think that, oh, this guy is good, he's passionate, I should be around him, because you kind of let that kind of aura around you, right? When you're passionate. And I'm extremely passionate about stock markets. I mean, I don't know anything other than stock markets in my life. Right. And so when someone's very passionate and is generally trying to help as many people, so it's easier to attract good talent to come to you. Now, if I was one of those douche, who's going to be arrogant and etc., I don't think Kailash would have ever happened. So it's but the thing again, right? I don't think there's a cut, copy, paste that will work, right? I mean, I don't think someone listening can say, oh, Nithin is like this, so I'll be like this, right? I don't, you have to be true to yourself, right? And that's. You just have to be the best form of you. I don't think you can just copy someone else. So.
100%. I just want to add this one quick nugget here, which is that a lot of successful people will definitely say that luck has been a part of my journey and right place, right time has been a part of my journey. And the obvious response to that is people say, hey, no, but it's all your hard work also.
Right.
But then the successful person will say, no, but you don't understand how much luck is involved here. And I feel that luck is definitely a huge part of everyone's journeys. Like, what are the chances that you met the exact correct product designer, the exact correct CTO who built this out with you? And honestly, your luck is totally decided by what you said, your karma, how you treat people, how attractive you are as someone to work with. Dude, so would you like agree to that like luck is a big part of it?
No, I mean, see, the thing is, it's about putting yourself in places where the odds of hitting are higher, right? And the way to put yourself in situation where the odds of hitting higher is doing stuff like what you said. Do good karma, right? As in, it just, so you do that, you automatically put yourself in situations where everyone's thinking about you, to say, oh, he did something good to me, I need to reciprocate, right? So if you have 100 people think like that about you, your chances of getting lucky increases. Does it guarantee luck? It doesn't. Right, but there is a way, I think, to, just be in that best situation for the highest chances of luck hitting you. So, yeah. So no, I completely agree on that.
Naval Ravikant actually said something like, just having strong ethics in life is very likely to actually create generational wealth. You will create that generational wealth slower, as in compared to someone who actually breaks ethics and gets fast money, but it'll be larger in the long term. Again, that's very test match cricket kind of thing. Like, you'll be able to score 300 runs, but do it slowly, do it nicely.
Correct. No, I think, no, as I said, no, I think the core of all of this is that don't make money as the objective, because you keep money as an
100%.
objective, you just end up derailing, so, your objective has to be what potentially can generate money, which is take care of the people around you, take care of your customers and just be focused on improving on a daily basis, so it's.
The reason I highlight money in this conversation is that my observation is, okay, now as someone who's running Zerodha, you have a bird's eye view of your customers and generally the stock market because you're passionate about it. When you're a YouTuber, you get a bird's eye view of the youth in general, your audience, as well as what is the youth of the country thinking. While they're excited by the concept of entrepreneurship, money is a very big personal driving factor for a lot of them because they want to provide a better life for their own families. And I feel the nature of Indians is such that when they actually go down journeys, there are character changes that happen. But early on, when they're like 17, 18, money, wealth, the glam is a driving factor, which eventually changes into, oh, okay, product design is a beautiful concept. Impact creation is a beautiful concept. But right now, I think a lot of young kids need to be seduced into this world and then kind of develop into something else. But anyway, that's just what I think, man. You go on with your story.
Yeah. So 2010 is when we started. 2013 when we started our product journey. Then in 2015 we did a very interesting thing. Me and Kailash and our PR guy, we were going to Cochin for a press conference. Our flight got delayed, and we were having a drink, and I said, dude, we haven't done anything for a while, and I said, why not go zero brokerage for equity investing, right? It's just out of the blue, and equity invest. Okay, so like I said, right, 90% of the people in the stock markets don't invest; they actively trade. And 99% actually, 1% of the people actually invest, which is buy a stock, wait for it to go up and sell it. So we said, what was happening with Zerodha was we were looked upon as a brand only for active traders and not for investors, right? The problem is with a business like that is that 99% of the people around you are investing, right? That means the trading community, even though they contribute a lot of turnover on the stock exchange, they are a very small number of people. Right. So in India, you probably have 5 to 10 lakh day traders or active traders who generate revenues for people like us. But there is 70, 80 lakh Indians who invest in the markets. But those 70, 80 lakh Indians who invest contribute only 1% of the exchange turnover. Right. So we said, if we kind of build a business only for traders, we'll never be able to go after that 70, 80 lakh Indians who invest in the market. So we said we want to change our kind of branding. So we said, why not? For this crowd, we go zero brokerage. Let's take away all the brokerage charges, and that's when virality hit for the first time for the business. Like in 2016, I remember the first. I think we took the decision on a Saturday, and then by Monday we were zero brokerage, and then Economic Times had this whole thing: watch 10 businessmen to watch for in 2016. And there was Mukesh Ambani, and next to it was, they put my name, right? And then I was like, dude, what the hell just happened? So, Mukesh Ambani for Jio and Nithin Kamath for Zerodha, as I said, but what happened was, that the PR that we got at that time, plus the low cost, suddenly just, became almost got us virality as a business, because like I said, right, in this business, credibility is very important, and people associate credibility when the paper says it, when newspaper says it, or TV says it. And so our real trajectory shift happened in 2016, and in 2015 we had also launched our in-house product. What Kay and Kailash and his team were building. It's called Kite, which is our web and trading app. We had launched that. So 2016 is when we started doing well. But the biggest challenge for us as a business was onboarding a customer. Right? We had like this 30-page document which had to be signed. I don't know how many proofs had to be attached. Like imagine if would a Uber Ola have happened if before sitting in a Uber Ola you had to sign a 30-page document, right? I mean, demonetization changed that for us, right? Because what demonetization did was people started using Aadhaar. Then people started using Aadhaar for other use cases, which is for KYC, for signature, and all of that. And so 2017 is when it really started taking off because we could now onboard a customer completely online. And during this journey, between 2015, 16, etc., we also did a few very interesting things. We launched in 2014 our education initiative called Varsity, which is probably in the top 2-3 in the world now in capital markets. If you want to learn anything about stock market, it's completely free. There is no Zerodha branding, nothing. We just do it out of love, and it's almost like a way to give back to the society. So we all spend a lot of time, not just it's like the format is very wiki plus Quora, in the sense you read an article, there's a lot of Q&A at the end of the article. That did really well. All this investment in startups that I said I was trying to do, we formalized it and we started an incubator called Rain Matter, right? So we took like 40-50 crores of what we had made, put it as a fund, and we said we will now enable new startups to come build niche experiences to grow the capital market ecosystem in the country, right?
So it's all primarily in the world of finance that you're trying to expand further.
Absolutely, yeah. Because see, there are a lot of people today who will write a check, right? I mean, there's no dearth of money, right? As in, I think what we bring on the table is essentially all the knowledge, of the markets, all these compliance issues. We kind of take care of all of that, and most importantly, we give the initial audience to validate your product. Right. The biggest challenge in the business of money is just to get your first few customers to trust you with their money, right? And with us, what we have done is all of these startups we have showcased to our customers, saying, you know what, this is almost like us. Why don't you give it a shot and tell us what you think of it, right? And us doing that has helped these startups. They're all on their own very successful, and all making money today. So yes, that's one of those things that I feel very excited about, the fact that we've been somehow a part of this, enabling all of these new startups and ideas to become businesses of their own. So that's called Rain Matter. There are around 12 startups there. I mean, we have done non-fintech as well, but it's more just out of passion or something like that. But the core, the passionate things that we have funded are all stock market related products and companies. 2020, this whole COVID suddenly changed the world for us completely. So till January, we were 2 million customers. We were still the largest broker in the country, by the, early Jan. But then from Feb till now, we've added another 1 million customers. So, it took us 9.5 years to add 2 million customers, and it took us like 6 months to add the next 1 million.
Because you have this bird's eye view of your audience, your consumer. What is going on now? Why are people suddenly getting more interested in financial education and fintech? Is it that young people, again, is it that same concept of young people are chasing wealth somewhere? And, that's why people are like latching onto this? What's your opinion on that?
No, I mean, see, the thing is, there are multiple enablers here, right? As in, so I think the first thing what has happened in the country is the interest rates are really low in the bank. Right, I mean, your fixed deposit is giving you 5.5% and stuff like that, right? So automatically people are looking for alternate ways, alternate places to invest into, where it can yield higher than the fixed deposit. The other thing is this whole work from home has enabled people to think about personal finances, right? Because this whole, otherwise when people go to work and they're continuously working 8-10 hours a day, by the time they come home they're already tired. Now they don't really have too much to think about. Now I think people sitting at home, they're like, oh, what, there is something called stock market, maybe it's we should look at it. The third enabler in this was the markets had fallen, so a lot of stocks were available for cheap, right? If you think of it, right, every time there's a sale, people go queue up, right? If the Big Bazaar had this Big Bazaar day, like there is 1 kilometer of queue outside because people get attracted to discounts. And that happened also in Feb, March, right? Suddenly you had stocks, available at 50-60% of the cost. And then those stocks bounced back, right? And, April, May, June, stock markets did well. So people who invested then suddenly saw a lot of money, and which meant, they started speaking about it to their friends. So, they're like, oh, what, there is a way to make money in the markets. So all of these happened together. And then fourth was, onboarding is today online, right? It's not offline like before. So all of this put together, the fact that you can instantly open an account, I think it's just, created this whole rush of people coming to the markets. And also, see, in India, there are 400 retail brokerage firms, right? Retail broking, stock broking is probably one of the oldest industries in the country, because, the Bombay Stock Exchange is the oldest stock exchange in Asia. So India actually has had a past, to the stock markets, relation to the stock markets for a long time. In this whole last 5-6 months, a lot of these brokers who are offline, they have lost out because all their business models were, wired around offline processes, right? I'll send someone to pick up a check after you buy a stock and stuff like that, right? I mean, that has got collapsed. So the top 5-10 online brokers have kind of gained a lot of market share from them. And what you've seen in the last 6 months is that our average age of our customers was 32 before COVID. It's 28 today. So it's just,
Wow.
so it's a lot of 20 to 30-year-olds who are coming in. I think the big challenge of this, like I was just recently tweeting about this, where this crowd doesn't have the money, unfortunately. So like, the money in India, like there was this thing which, this data that Goldman Sachs put out recently saying 75% of all wealth is with people who are more than 50 years of age. So the problem challenge of building a business for the 20 to 30-year-olds in a business of money is that even though you have a lot of customers, these customers together don't really add up to a lot of money, right? Which is the, which is the one place where we haven't done very well, which is we haven't done very well in this audience of 50-year-old plus crowd, because this audience needs, relationship managers. They need someone to call up and say, good day, good morning, sir, good afternoon. I mean, they're used to a certain way of life, and they don't really they don't really care for product experience as much as a younger, like a 20 to 30-year-old guy. Like my dad likes this old Android phone. Every time I try to give him a new phone, he's like, no, I like this better. Right? He doesn't, he doesn't want to even shift out of that because he's just used to that product. Right. And yeah, so that's one place where, we've not been very successful, which is attracting the 45 plus crowd to come open accounts with us.
So the way I look at it, I mean, personally, I feel like you're sitting on this volcano of growth eventually, because I just feel that younger people now, like in their early 20s, there's a lot of entrepreneurial energy. There's a lot of, energy when it comes to, again, personal finances. There's a lot of thoughts behind, okay, how do I grow to that next level? Because honestly, considering the fact that I'm guessing a big chunk of your audience is tier 1 cities in India, like, and therefore, I mean, your consumers tier 1 cities in India, and therefore, they are very influenced by the West. They're very influenced by America. They're very influenced by the Gary V's of the world. I don't know how familiar you are with Gary Vee, but he's this entrepreneur from America who does a lot of social media content. He promotes the idea of growth, challenging yourself. And even when we hire people for Monk Entertainment, which is our media company, so when we're hiring 22-year-olds, they're extremely different from what even I was when I was 22, and I'm just 5 years older than them. But the whole thought process is completely different. So is that something that you'll think about a lot? Because I'm assuming you do, considering the fact that you've designed a minimalist app, considering the fact that that is a big chunk of your audience, that 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line is where you'll really see the growth of Zerodha.
No, I mean, I think every single thing that we built today is for that crowd, in the sense the 20 to 30-year-old crowd. I think what's also changed with this crowd is just the risk-taking appetite. I think that's dramatically changed. Because we started the business from 2010 to now, right? As in, like 5 years back, the way people used to respond, the younger crowd to stock markets, to what they're doing today, there's a drastic change in that. And I think why risk trading appetite, because I think it's capitalism at its it's play, right? As in, it's people know that they have to make their money work. Just earning a salary isn't enough. They whatever is saved, that has to work for them. And you can't, and also I think there is this whole insecurity in terms of I think today's world, you can't really, the retirement ages has come down from 60 to 55 and etc. I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but as and when the retirement age is reducing, that means post-retirement where you don't earn a salary, you have a lot of time to spend, which means that you have to start saving for your retirement as early as possible. And while while there is a lot of excessive consumerism is a problem in this country. That is people spending, like swiping out the credit card on the first day of the month, and then trying to make up as and when. But there is this whole chunk of audience, a new bunch of people who understand that saving for retirement is an important concept, right? And I think we need to find a way to make sure the entire crowd thinks like that. And you can't just have a small portion of this 20 to 30-year-old saying, what, my dad retired at 60, but I might retire at 52 or 50, right? That means I have 10 years lesser to save, for my retirement, right? And so say if you start earning at 20 and say you save till 50, so you have 30 years of earning and you have maybe another 20, 30 years of living off your savings, right? So how much do you need to save? And the cost of living is continuously going up, right? As in I don't think it's going to reduce ever, right? So I can see that, people thinking of it, like a big section of the 20 to 30-year-old, but there's also a big section of 20 to 30-year-old who wants to buy just, if a person who wants 50,000 rupees wants to go spend 1 lakh rupees on an iPhone, which is ridiculous. It's probably the most stupid thing someone can do, right? But people, get caught by this consumerism. And I think our marketers and advertisers just make it all so, it's almost like a must have today, right? As in like the latest phone, the latest shoes, the latest whatever, right? I think what has also happened in this COVID era, right, is people have not been spending on this, discretionary stuff, which means they've suddenly gotten, access to this money which was getting spent otherwise, which is also the reason I think why, people like us, the businesses like us have done well, because that money which is in the bank, instead of going and finding its way to a Nike shoes or an iPhone, has, probably gone into, Reliance Industries or, State Bank of India or some stock like that, so, which is good. I think, excessive consumerism is the one which is killing the climate, it's killing the planet, it's problematic for the climate change, etc. So
on multiple levels, dude. It's not just climate change. It's probably, I think over time I've begun to look at it as a very minor part of self-harm also, because the more you own,
right.
the more you're prone to misery. But that's a deep spiritual theory. More on that later. Go on.
Yeah, so even the education. So we have launched this like a mobile app for education. It's called Varsity. The education, the web, it's also on the mobile. So we've seen a lot of and the thing what we've done at that financial education is we've broken it down into small little non-intimidating kind of ways to teach people finance. And that's also doing quite well, with the audience. And the startup ecosystem that we're working with, they've built a lot of very cool, products for the 20 to 30-year-olds, and that's also kind of done well. So so the focus is 20 to 30-year-olds. I think India has the highest number of 20 to 30-year-olds in the world. I think the way we are looking at our business is that you sit with them, teach them good habits, and wait for them to get richer in their lives, so so they automatically start generating more revenue for the business as well, as and when this progresses.
So when it comes to financial behavior, now you're someone who's an expert in terms of the world of finance, and there would be great financial behavior, and then there would be the obvious trend in financial behavior that happens after COVID over the next 10 years. So let's take this phase after COVID. Over the next 10 years, what is good financial behavior versus what do you think will happen? Or will they actually merge? Will people actually get so educated financially that the trend you're predicting will be the actual best case scenario trend?
No, personally, I am currently, kind of pessimistic about the world, so I don't think this whole COVID situation is just gonna disappear. I think stock markets are currently misleading. I don't think, because stock markets around the world have bounced back, which seem to say that we're all back to normal. I don't think so. Because this, like I've come out to a resort this weekend, and there are 3 people in this beautiful resort, which can have 100 families, right? So, and this is a listed company, so, and like my friends who run gyms and etc., like they're all saying, even if they open, I think they're opening tomorrow. I don't think they're not expecting people to walk in. There are no inquiries coming in just because it's opening tomorrow. So I think there's like a big behavioral change that's going to happen, and which means that firstly, like what I'm pessimistic about is that I don't know how jobs will be created, right? I mean, how do you create new jobs in this country, right? If there's a whole bunch of jobs are getting lost because of generally lesser money being spent by people, how do you create new jobs? If there is no new jobs, the only other option for government is to increase taxes or find other ways to take money from people who make money, right? So it's so I don't really know what is the right, I don't know what's the right solution to get out of this problem. I think the first thing we all should hope and pray is that there is a vaccine out soon, and because we're all in such, I think capitalism is a proper religion for this world right now, right? And suddenly, in this religion, if people stop spending money, right, the religion can't survive. Right? It's almost like like how going to temple or going to a mosque, etc., is almost important for that religion to survive. In capitalism, I think you need people to be spending money for it to survive, right? And now suddenly there's a situation where people have stopped. I think so. I'm kind of bearish for the next few years. So unfortunately, the problem is I'm in a business where I can't do anything much by being bearish. In the sense. I'm it's a conflict of interest, right? As a business, I can't, it's not like a stock I can sell today and then buy back after 3 years, right? As in, you have to, we are just preparing ourselves to survive out this, what we think the next 2-3 years are going to be tough periods. The behavior of the 20 to 30 year olds, I think, the last 6 months has been, I think, the most, I think most people in the world have gotten lucky in the last 6 months with the financials, because Feb and March is when across the world the maximum of number of new investors came to the market. They bought stock and the stocks have gone up 20, 30, 40%, right? I don't think stuff like that will happen. There is a saying that, in a bull market, even the most stupid guy suddenly thinks he's a financial genius, right? And so, so right now we are in that period where people who have bought stock and have made some money suddenly think that they're so super sharp, right? And they can keep getting it right like this forever, right? And which is tough. I don't think, like I said, stock markets are probably the toughest place in the world to make easy money. So there are other ways. You probably have easier ways to make money is by going and playing a lottery than trying to make money off stock markets. It's very tough here. So I think whenever there's reality hits that COVID is not it's not over. This problem is not over. Stock markets will factor in that. Right? It'll probably come down. Now, when it comes down, what will be the behavior of all those people who thought they were these financial geniuses, right? And suddenly, you're sitting on stocks which have lost in value. What do you do at that time, right? And historically, what I've seen in the last 20, 25 years is when stocks don't do well and they lose some money, people become, passive. They say, let the stock recover and then I'll invest more money. So, which is again not good for us for a business. And we've been trying as a company to inculcate some good habits on the trading platform. So, for example, buying a penny stock, right? A penny stock is a stock which really doesn't have a real business behind it. It's just a paper. It's a company where there is interesting trivia. There's one address in Calcutta where there are 200 listed companies in one address. So, and these are all companies which are trading on the stock exchange. And so people end up buying such stocks. You buy a stock at 1 rupee and you think it'll become 10 rupees, right? But this 1 rupee stock really has no inherent value at all, right? So what we have done at Zerodha is that, we don't allow penny stocks to be purchased on the platform, right? We are saying, let us protect the people from doing those kind of mistakes. But that still said, there are so many of these behaviors of people, which So yeah, which is very tough to change. And I think, uh, if I had to, I don't know how this will play out over the next 6 months, 1 year, but I think when markets come down, a lot of these new first time investors who came to the market, they'll say, "Oh, dude, let's wait it out. Let's wait for the stock markets to recover before we invest more money," which is not the right way to play it. Right, the right way to play the stock market is not to try timing it, right? Because no one can time it. I think the right way to do this is allocate a certain portion of your income or saving to the stock markets, and then do it over a period of time. Don't try to put all of it at one time and saying, what, markets come down, let me buy, or let markets gone up, let me sell. I don't think that's the right way to do it. The idea is to be systematic, invest small amounts of money over time. Because when you do that dollar cost averaging, as they call it, which is you buy, say 5,000 rupees this month, next month 5,000, like a sip or whatever you call it. So over a long period of time, your average costs, tend to come down, right? And that's a much better way for someone to play it. For someone like me, right? I've done this for 20, 25 years, so I can take risks, right? I mean, if I have to walk on a tightrope, for a profession, I would have practiced it for 10, 15 years, and then I'm doing the tightrope walk, right? A person who has no knowledge about stock markets, etc. I think the right way to play it also is that. Now, if someone in listening thinks that they want to be a trader like me, and I can tell you after blowing up my account and struggling for I don't know, 5 to 7 years, the lesson I learned is that don't risk more than more than what you can afford to lose. There is this, so today when I'm doing anything, I wouldn't bet more than 1 to 2% of my personal net worth on anything, because I know that if it blows out, I lose 1 to 2%. It's not gonna kill me, right? I can always bounce back. So people don't think like that. A lot of the problem is when people have smaller amounts of money. Say you have 1 lakh rupees in saving, right? How do you take a 1,000 rupee bet? Is what they think, right? Or say a 5,000 rupees bet. So people want to put 1 lakh rupee into one stock and buy, buy everything with that one stock and hope to get lucky. And I don't think in the stock markets hope is really a strategy. So it's if someone's listening, the plan is, if you have 1 lakh rupees, find 10 stocks from different sectors and industries, distribute across it. Now, if you want to become a speculator, take 10,000 rupees in this 1 lakh rupees and speculate, right? You leverage, whatever, right? But make sure that if you blow out the 10,000 rupees, don't add more, right? Now, if you make money, you're one of those guys who enjoys trading and makes 10,000 becomes 15,000, then probably slowly increase that 10,000, but never, go to a point where more than 20, 30% of your, savings are, being used for very active trading. Because in very active trading, we are leveraging, you can blow up very easily. And that's essentially stuff that I try to teach people who are starting the markets. So.
Hey guys, so that was part 1 of our mega episode with Zerodha founder Nithin Kamath. It was all about the Zerodha story. I hope you all got some inspiration, but keep in mind, part 2 is a lot more about personal finance. It's kind of financial education for you. Very, very powerful episode. You guys are going to enjoy it. I also asked him a lot about his mindset, what goes on in his head outside of the world of Zerodha. I think you guys are going to enjoy part 2 as well. It's coming up next.